Luna wrote in saying, hey, David, are there particular manners or habits that make an impression on you when people either do or don't do them? Yeah, I sort of mentioned this last week in another audience question. When people are rude to wait staff at restaurants, that makes an insanely negative impression on me. When people just like don't treat wait staff well at restaurants, I immediately lose respect for you.
Yeah, I think there are more customs and courtesies that are kind of going out the window now. For example, people putting their elbows on the table, that never really seemed to bother me.
No.
And, yeah, some of them are going out of fashion.
There's some specific table manners things that I think are sort of relevant in the sense that they are still in fine dining, often things to pay attention to, but that sometimes get carried too far. And I told the story of a friend of mine who once was at a dinner, a white tablecloth dinner, and spilled some red wine. And when you spill even a drop of red wine on a tablecloth, you can imagine how it just starts to spread. So he took his napkin that was on his lap and put it on the table to sort of dab the red wine and to prevent the spread from continuing. And his girlfriend at the time was apparently furious with him because it's so rude to do anything but putting your napkin on your lap until the meal has completely concluded, which it hadn't at that time. And I thought that that was such an unnecessary, adherence to an arbitrary rule of etiquette. The guy was just trying to prevent this huge basketball-sized circle of red wine from developing on the table. To focus so much on that seems to me really archaic and antiquated.
Do I want to have the most etiquette in the room here, or do I want to solve the problem at hand?
Yeah, and he went for solving the problem at hand. Okay, other manners or habits that make an impression on me. I think that for me, I'm generally polite to everybody. So politeness usually is my default, and it makes less of an impression on me than people who are not polite. So like when I'm walking 3 feet behind someone and they don't hold the door slightly so that it just closes on me or right in front of me as I'm about to walk through a doorway, I notice that. Someone holding the door for me, that's what I do for everyone. So I don't notice that as much. I don't know if you find the same thing where you're noticing lack of manners more than politeness and manners.
Yeah, I always go with the holding the door thing, but it can be kind of tricky because what if they're in that space that's just far enough that you can't really wait too long to hold the door open for them?
So I will admit that there are times when I'm walking in front of someone and I'm definitely sort of in the range where I might, if I slowed down a lot, be in the range to reasonably hold the door for them. But it would start to get a little awkward because they're still kind of far behind me. What I'll usually do in those situations, and I don't know if this makes me a bad person, I'll speed up and speed walk such that when I get to the door, it's much more distance between us and it's way more reasonable not to hold the door. And this has nothing to do with not wanting to hold the door. It's the idea that if I open the door when they're 80 feet away and just stand there holding a door, it would be very strange.
Yeah, it's not about being rude. It's just about avoiding awkwardness. Yeah. There's actually another one. If you're walking down a street and there's a man and a woman, the man is supposed to stand towards the cars more.
Yes.
Beyond the side of the road that's a little bit towards the cars.
To protect the woman.
Yes, protect the woman. And I think this dates back to horse and carriage days where feces from the horses would splatter all across the women. Yeah. So I don't think that one necessarily has to be observed anymore.
Yeah, I've heard mixed things about that. Yeah. I have people who tell me, that's something men should still do. There's other people who say, it's almost sexist to say the man has to be walking closer to the cars than the woman. The truth is, if a car goes up on the curb, I guess it's slightly more likely to hit you if you're 12 inches closer to the curb, but it could really run either person over. And then there's other people who say, no, it's just polite in case there's a splash of water. It's not necessarily horse feces, but just water that might be in the, sort of like right on the edge of the curb on a rainy day type of thing. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on that one.
I guess I'll continue to do it.
You're going to keep doing it?
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
All right. Well, sign Pat up. He's going to continue doing that. Send me your thoughts if there are other manners or lack thereof that make a particular impression on you. Thanks for your audience questions. Great bonus show coming up today. And also, the Indiegogo fundraiser continues. Please check it out. Even if you can only donate a few dollars, check out davidpakman.com/donate and donate what you can.